can get it. We got quarter inch yesterday.
Here we go.
Okay.
Go.
Court will come to order. It is Monday, June the 1st, 2020. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and the Kirk County Commissioners Court is now in session. I have my telephone here, 830-792-6161 for any input from the public that wants to call in. It is on, and it will ring in the courtroom if you call. Other than that, I'd ask everybody else to please keep your phones on vibrate. It's okay to have them on and everything, but really rather not have them go off during the court session. At this point, this is our public input. Anyone who would like to address the court is free to do so. Those that want to call 792-6161. Do we have anyone present that has any input for the court for something that is not on the agenda? Okay, there being nothing about that, let's have commissioners' comments. Let's start with Precinct 1, Commissioner Ballou.
Nearly 7 inches of rain so far since all this mess started. A few trees down and no real complaints. Everything's going good in Precinct 1.
Good, good.
For the year, 23 inches of rain, which is really good. Okay. Lot is, as Commissioner Ballou said, lots of damage from hail and trees and leaves being totally stripped from trees, and that's all the bad news. I wanted to, if I may, just comment on something that's Precinct 2, but across the board, and that is our emergency management plan has a section in there for terrorism. So, and I've looked at it this morning. It's extremely good. So, should this anything like this occur in Kirk County, I think we've got a good plan. So, important thing to have in place. That's all I have.
Good.
Plenty of rain. Plenty of rain. Skipped you.
Is there any such thing?
Got an inch and 3/4 last night. Plenty of wind damage out in our area. Looking good. I mean, we're set up pretty good. So, go ahead.
The eastern part of the county has not had nearly as much rain. And we also haven't had the wind damage and hail. So we've had the good part. The rain would have been nice. In the past, I guess 2 days, we've had less than a quarter inch total.
Yeah.
Whereas, I know I was in Kerrville yesterday afternoon and they probably had 3 inches. It was pouring. But anyway, it'll all come around, but we've had a pretty good year so far. Hope we get a little bit more rain. As a general comment that just to be thinking about as we go into budget and things, and since I'm looking over at Kelly, kind of involves her department, it is getting harder and harder for Road and Bridge to find locations to put their material. And we really need to look at budget of either buying a lot of small 1-acre tracts scattered throughout the county for them to put material, or buying another yard somewhere. It's becoming a real problem. And I know we just lost another one in my precinct. And it's kind of like, they're unsightly, I understand. People don't want them right next to their front gate, but at the same time, it's going to start costing the county a lot of money if we have to have everything in one central location in the middle of Kirkland. So it's something we need to think about going into budget. That's it.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything to report at the county level other than we survived last week. And we're very blessed. We just lost one huge tree, but that was enough. But we didn't lose a roof, and we didn't lose a house. A lot of people in Kerrville South did, I know. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and start the agenda here. Let's go to 1.1, which is Doug Thomas, our Emergency Management Coordinator. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the update, facility use, and other matters related to COVID-19.
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners. All right. This is situation report number 13, our 13th week, working through the COVID. We're going to kind of go through the report like we usually do. I'm going to kind of leave off some of the stuff that's been talked about in the past, all the governor's executive orders and those types of things. Our Emergency Operations Center is still active, and we're still operating at an increased readiness level. Annex H, health and medical, is still implemented. We're still in phase 3 of the pandemic plan. The current situation, Kirk County received one positive COVID-19 result last week. That's one DSHS confirmed. You've seen probably where Peterson Regional posted that we've had basically two, number 20 and 21, but I've not received confirmation from DSHS yet on that number 21, but that one is expected. Mobile testing. Testing continues by the Texas Military Forces today at the Hill Country Youth Event Center from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Y'all probably got the code red this weekend telling everybody how to register for that. There's an 800 number. I'm sorry, it's 512-883-2400, or they can go to the texascovidtest.org to be screened, and then we'll get an appointment to sign up for COVID testing for today. So you've still got your numbers from the nursing homes and the last 3 military testings that have been done. Totals today for the Kerr County testing. I did not have Peterson Regional's. You'll back to page 3 there at the bottom. We're under Kerr County testing. Peterson Regional Medical Center, as of today, has done 999 tests. So that 880 is last week's number. Texas Military Forces have done 295. Nursing homes, 675 were done by the Kerrville Fire Department and Peterson Regional. COVID positive total was 1,969. I'm sorry. COVID positive was 20. So our infection rate is less than, it's right at 1%, 0.0101. Other than that, based on Friday afternoon's numbers for DSHS Region 8, in Texas, we've had 64,287 confirmed cases, 1.82 in the million in the United States, and 6.11 million worldwide. Total deaths for Texas, 1,672, 106,000 in the United States, 370,000 worldwide. Texas recovered is 42,000. The United States, 397,000. In the world, 2.6 million people have recovered from COVID-19. Testing continues in the state of Texas, a total of 1,073,491 tests. Of that, and this is new, the stuff that they've been putting on their website. The viral tests, those are the ones where you get the nasal swab, which is what we're currently doing. There are 951,865 tests have been done statewide. Antibody tests, those are serology tests to determine whether or not you have had the virus and you just didn't know it. 102,928. The surrounding counties, we've had Kendall County has 30, Medina 72 with 2 fatalities. Those numbers keep rising. The DSHS website, of course, not been updated as of over the weekend. They'll update it today at about noon, but they're showing Kerr County with 19. We know we have 20. Gillespie County is 5, Bandera 6, and Kimball County is 1. I left off some of the other counties, Blanco, Llano, those counties, they're not in DSHS Region 8. So I did not update us for those numbers. Total Texas counties, 231 have had positive cases. The DSHS Region 8 numbers, active cases, they've had 1,440. 2,067 people have recovered, and deaths are 103. Our operational priorities are still the same. We're going to continue to work with the City of Kerrville and Peterson Regional in providing testing and for information on how to avoid being infected with COVID-19. Any questions on anything this morning?
I want to thank you for putting the percentage out there.
You're welcome.
It puts a
Well,
little perspective on it.
And Dub, just to follow up on a meeting we had last week with the city and with Peterson, we are coordinating how we report these positive cases. Everything's going to go through the DSHS, the Department of State Health Services. Dub is our primary contact on that. The hospital and the city have their own emergency management coordinators who will go through him. And for people that want to know the actual number, the official number, it will come through Dub, comes through the county.
And we did that to avoid any kind of confusion. I know a couple of weeks ago when we had, I think Peterson Regional put out, they had COVID positives 13, 14, 15, when in reality, somebody had been tested at an off-site facility somewhere else. And DSHS had already notified me of number 13. The Peterson Regional did not know that at the time. So try and keep all the numbers consistent with what's on the DSHS website and what we know that we have. The state notifies the county emergency management coordinator, and then I will push those numbers out to the PIOs.
And so that the public understands, the reason for this is because not all the testing is done here in Kerr County. If Peterson did all the testing, then they'd have the information. But we have the National Guard. We have Franklin Clinic was doing some testing. We've got testing coming out of San Antonio and other places. So we coordinated all through the state, through Region 8. That's what we're doing. So anybody that wants to know the official count, go to the website or call Doug.
Doug, those that have been tested positive, how many have spent time in the hospital?
I want to say 3. I
Three.
get that confirmation on that from Pam at Peterson, but I'm pretty sure 3. I know 2 were transferred to facilities or hospitals in San Antonio, and 1 was here, but then they released them, and then that's when they found out they were positive. So I believe just 3 have been hospitalized.
Yeah, I knew it was a small amount, and
Small
I know
amount.
one of them spent like 24 hours.
No deaths.
Right. Okay. Very good.
But I will make a note, Judge, that the city has been hosting a kind of a news conference weekly at 10:30 on Thursdays. It's been carried live, and those will be discontinued and will be done as further needed.
That's the Thursday 10:30 public announcements that they have.
Yeah, that's been canceled as just a weekly update. If there's a reason to reinstitute it, it will be done. A lot of people participated in the county, the city, Peterson, but it was felt that I think all the stakeholders will continue to discuss at 9 o'clock, and then if needed, a press conference will be called.
In our
Yeah.
steering committee, the task force that consists of myself and Jeremy Hughes with the city's EM, infection control, and the Peterson Regional emergency management coordinator, we're going to meetings every other week instead of weekly now. So
But so the public knows, the stakeholders are still meeting for their weekly briefings at 9 o'clock on Thursdays. We're just not having a public announcement afterwards unless there's something newsworthy.
we're still going to converse on a daily basis. It's just not that we're just not going to be doing formal meetings.
And in fact, I was very impressed with the level of cooperation and collaboration that we had in our meeting last week to get the city and the Peterson and county together. We're working seamlessly, so I think we're able to serve the public.
Well, Doug, do you feel like we need to do these weekly? Your update?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just to keep the numbers going, and if we have some kind of change, I think being here every Monday is still going to be beneficial.
Okay.
Anything else for Doug? Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate all you're doing. Okay, the next item on the agenda is another one that we do weekly these days, as long as we're still under a state of disaster, and that is 1.2, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the local state of disaster due to public health and economic emergency proclamation that was signed by me on March the 24th and extended until terminated by order of the court on March 30. We keep this on the agenda because these orders are only good for 7 days. So we renew it every week. We renewed it until terminated, and so what we do on a weekly review is to see, is it time to terminate it? And I think in a lot of ways, we're close to being ready to terminate it. But we did get advice from our council last week that for grant purposes and disaster relief, that we're leaving it in place. I will disclose to everybody that I'm wearing a mask today at my wife's request, but this will probably be the last day I wear the mask if everything continues to improve the way it has. But in terms of the disaster, is anybody ready to terminate the proclamation?
Well, I want to ask a question about the grant process. Does anybody know when and how that's going to begin?
It's begun.
It's
We
begun.
filed several already.
What can you tell us about it, Tom?
We have one grant that's going to be due on the 15th of June.
All right.
That's the one that y'all have already approved through Commissioner's Court. It's going to be about $30,000, and that's for basically the cost of security when we were operating the Hill Country Event Center testing site, and then some of the sick leave during that time for the jail, and then a lot of the PPE, the sanitizing items that they purchased at the jail. Another one was turned in last week, just our intent. This is also through the CARES Act, and that's the one that the county could receive up to $1.4 million.
Well, I
So-
guess what I really wanted to ask is, do we have any idea when this will all be completed? What all the expenses are?
Oh, most of the expenses are open until like mid-December, December the 20th.
So it's
They
gonna
have-
be through the end of the year.
Yes,
And the expenses that we're incurring today is June 1. And for those that forgot, this is the day we begin the in-person hearings for our criminal defendants and begin jury selection and jury trials. And so we're meeting out at the Youth Event Center today. This is the first day that any of these inmates that have been in jail for the last 3 months are going to be taken out of their cell. So this is a big day. That's why I'm wearing the mask. When I left the house this morning, she says, "Go one more time because you're going to have new people at the courthouse today." So that's what we're trying to do. But that's going to be a big expense.
Tanya, as I recall, there was something on the federal grants of equivalent to $55 per person in the county, so that's like
That's the
$2.5 million.
it
Well,
It
was,
was 1.4
it was 1.4 is what
1.4 what?
million.
is $1 million.
Yeah, but what was the $55 per person? That would be equivalent to $2.5 million.
Yes, but it's split between the city of Ingram and the city of
Okay,
Kerrville
so,
and us.
okay, that was gonna be my next question. So that $2.5 million is split Ingram, city of Kerrville, and the county?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
And a lot of these grants, they have different start dates, and the one for the sheriff started, I believe, February the 1st, and the 1.4 million, I believe the expenses go back to March 1st.
Okay, and that's for the county, 1.4 million.
Yes.
So outside of the incorporated areas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And there could be more come about that we don't even know about yet.
Well, that's what exists today.
Yeah, exactly.
That's-
So, you know, I'm sort of like you, Harley, but I don't want to cost the taxpayer any possible grants. You know, like I said last week, we're not overreaching with this.
But we don't cost the county taxpayers anything.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's all
So-
taxpayer money.
Exactly. So we got to take care of Kerr County.
Well, so basically, this is on till the end of the year for any unforeseen stuff that comes between now and then. At this juncture, we have a pretty good handle on what has been turned in, what needs to be turned in.
Yes.
Okay.
The auditor's
So-
office did a great job staying
Yes.
on top of these grants.
So that's really what I wanted to know, is how long this is gonna keep going, and unless there's some other surprise, we have a pretty good handle on where we're at. My other question is about this $2.5 million. Some of this other money that was available ran out, depending on who filed first to get it.
Yes.
Is that gonna be the case for this?
The money, my understanding of the $55 grant was that was why they distributed it out, and I've already said this is going to be for each county or each territory.
So it's gonna be there if and when?
It's going to be there for us to draw on.
Okay. Good.
How is that grant styled so that every entity gets that amount of money regardless, or do you have to apply for it? And then if you do apply for it, what are the
And it's a matching grant too.
but
Not?
Not matching.
That
but
was not
my
matching.
question is, what are the eligible expenses to draw it down?
Yes, and we're still looking into that. A lot of what we've seen for our COVID sick, our pay code that we've been using, those should be able to apply. So it's anything that we've done for protection, you know, of somebody getting the COVID-19. So that opens us up a little bit more for being able to apply more of our expenses that we've already had toward it. You know, the cost of the plexiglass that we've all got now in our buildings, all of that. We've got IT time now that would be able to be qualified for setting up, you know, the cameras that we have now in this room. The sheriff's costs that he's gonna have for opening up the jail, the transporting, the inmates, anything that's directly related to COVID-19. And those are changing daily. There's questions that are updated almost daily on what can be used for that grant and what cannot be used for that grant.
One, and you may have done this also, I see Kelly sitting right there. I know that Kelly made a lot of operational changes on transportation of our employees. I don't know we can go back and quantify that, but that's mileage, I would, easy way to calculate, I would think would be the additional mileage that we're paying per mile vehicle, like it was 65 cents is the IRS rate right now, rather than keep track of this, the fuel, but it's also the wear and tear on additional vehicles. So that's a potentially pretty big number.
We'll get with Kelly and see if there's anything that we can go back and apply toward.
But I think you're also gonna have costs associated with the election.
Which,
Oh, yeah.
that's,
Another
yes,
one.
and that's a different grant. That HAVA grant is what y'all approved the resolution for last week, I believe it was. So we have those for the security of the election.
What about lost revenue for all the cancellations of the Hookman Youth Event Center?
All I've seen so far for that has been a loan that's available. So as far as just for lost revenues, there's not any grant that I've seen so far to cover anything like that.
Nice.
I'm looking.
Wishful thinking. If they started reimbursing people for lost business, we just close everything up and go home. Nobody else, we won't have a nickel left in the state,
In the nation.
in the nation, right?
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to item 1.3 on the agenda, information regarding the plans and status of the petition campaign for placing on the November ballot alcoholic beverage sales in Precinct 2. Mr.
Judge,
Moser.
if I may start, thank you, Judge. Try to put things in perspective. There's 3 numbers to remember associated with this. Precinct 2, okay, and as the item says, the alcoholic beverage sales in Precinct 2, so it's equality for Precinct 2, okay, in alcoholic beverage sales. The next thing is the number 2020. That's how many signatures we need on a petition to be signed to get this on the ballot for November 3rd. So Precinct 2, 2020. The next thing is those petitions have to be signed, that number of signatures, by August the 1st, ballpark. So with that, we'd hoped, there were three things we were trying to get it done. Petition signed electronically. Andy Murr asked the governor to consider electronic signatures. From that, we haven't heard from the governor. There was a petition filed with the Judge Patello's court. That was denied, okay, based on whatever, okay, and that's okay. So now we have a campaign that's getting ready to kick off today, okay? So Claudia Richards is here to talk about the campaign and how we're going to get this 2020 signatures signed between now and August 1st. Okay, why don't you stand up there, Claudia?
Good morning. So as Commissioner Mosier stated, we had planned to do this prior. We had, in November of last year is when we actually started to get this going, and we marketed for April 1st is when we were going to begin the petition circulation. However, the pandemic, we felt like public safety was and is still our highest priority. And to try and reach out to every registered voter within Precinct 2 in a safe manner has been another obstacle. Now we are going to, moving forward, since we have been denied any type of relief locally thus far, we're going to have drive-through petition signings. We're going to promote BYOP, bring your own pen. We are going to do sidewalk signatures. Also, all of our affiliates will still have the petitions available there. We are, this weekend, on Saturday, at Los Dos Amigos, we'll be holding a drive-through signing event. We'll be at the annual golf tournament and almost every chamber event that we can attend. Again, this is just to get this on the ballot. This is not, if we get the signatures needed, it is not legalizing the sale. It is giving the option to vote on legalization of the sale. Right now, with COVID and the economy and the state that it is, I feel like it's even more so important to get that sales tax revenue. Upon review of the annual fiscal report that was released September 30th of last year, the county states that stimulation of business and commercial activity and the creation and retention of job opportunities within the county is the highest priority. That is our goal, is to create job opportunities and to stimulate the economy with the sales tax revenue from the sale of alcoholic beverages.
So another thing to put in perspective, there are a little over 9,000 registered voters in precinct 2. So to get 2,000 plus 2020, it's going to be a monumental task, but we will get it done.
We're not stopping yet, so that's all I've got unless anyone has a question.
I don't know if the public understands exactly what we're talking about here, but precinct 2 is a dry precinct, and so they can't sell alcohol, well, hard liquor, I guess it is.
Or wine.
Huh?
Or wine.
Or wine.
Anything over 6%.
5%.
5%.
5%. And so we've tried for a number of years to try to get this on the ballot. We got to have the signatures to get it on the ballot. Then in November there has to be a vote to approve it. So it's a two-step process. You got to have the petition and you got to have the vote. The lawsuit was an effort to try to get those signatures electronically because of the COVID-19 crisis. And that was denied. So we have to do this in person. And so you're here appealing to us to get these signatures in person, giving us all the different opportunities and venues that you're going to be there to secure these signatures, correct?
Yes, sir. And we will be doing so with face masks and every sanitizer necessary. So.
And one of the reasons that this is important to the county is because the Hill Country Youth Event Center is in Precinct 2. And so that limits the amount of revenues that we can generate from the Hill Country Youth Event Center. And so I just want to incentivize the citizens of Precinct 2 to work with Commissioner Moser and work with Ms. Richards to get this petition so that we can get it on the ballot, so that we can open up Precinct 2 for some of these craft businesses, vineyards and wineries and stuff like that. If we don't get this thing passed, then I will personally be asking to have the Youth Event Center move to Precinct 3 so that we can get over this. And don't want to do that, but we got to address the problem. Gail.
Yes, sir, Judge. One thing you might look into is Center Point's fire department, and they usually have their annual deal. I don't know if they're going to have it this year or not. That'd be a place to get much soon.
Thanks.
But I really want to encourage the people in Precinct 2 to get out and sign this petition, get this on the ballot, and get it passed, or we're going to do something about it. So, with that, okay, thank you, Ms. Richards.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia.
Commissioner Mosher and Judge, if Ms. Richards could let y'all know when these events are happening so that maybe Lisa can know and publicize it on social media and otherwise, that would be helpful to get people informed about where they can go and when they can do that.
We'll have a publication on all the events. It'll be organized like in River Hill, Comanche Trace, not only planned events, but we'll set up signature stations for specific days, but yeah, that'll all be publicized, so thank you.
Okay, moving on. Let's go to item 1.4 on the agenda. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to set a public hearing for the Kerr County, Texas Economic Development Program, including guidelines and criteria for tax abatement. This is what we talked about at the last meeting. We went over that with our attorney there in executive session. We need to schedule a public meeting for that. And how many days does it have to be?
This specific program doesn't have a particular number of days. Once particular agreements are entered into a 20-day time period, but
Okay.
this, I think when we were looking toward the 20, I'm sorry.
The meeting on June 22nd?
Yes, sir.
So I'd recommend that we set the public hearing on June the 22nd, which is a regularly scheduled Commissioners Court meeting.
I'll second that.
I made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Ballou, to set the public hearing for the adoption of our Texas Economic Development Program, including guidelines and criteria for tax abatement, on June the 22nd, 2020. Is there any further discussion?
Is that at 10 a.m.?
10 a.m.
Does it have to be published?
10 a.m. Pardon?
Does it need to be published?
Public hearing.
And I think there should be an email that you received over the weekend that I printed out. On the very last page, it says a sample publication.
10 a.m.
Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Next item on the agenda, 1.5, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to acknowledge Kerrville Little League's use of the county fields for baseball season. Commissioner Letts.
Yes, I think I mentioned before that they plan to start a shortened baseball season and softball season. Practice would start today, the game starting on the 15th. That's per the governor's guideline. They did ask that the court acknowledge the use of that facility, since it is a county-owned facility. I'll make a motion that it's acceptable for the Kerrville Youth Baseball and Softball Association to use the county fields for baseball season this summer, and that would include, as long as it's done within the governor's guidelines, and it does include use of a concession stand limited.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Moser to approve the use of the Little League of the county baseball fields. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Next item on the agenda is 1.6, discussion regarding the available office space for Regional Public Defender's Office, including advantages and disadvantages of leasing versus purchasing the space. This is something I put on the agenda. Commissioner Letts and I met last week with an owner group, the building just up the street here. They've offered leases. The building, by the way, is 2 blocks up. It's the old Church of Christ Sunday school building, 2-story building, 10,000 square feet gross. That doesn't include the net square footage. But they've made us lease proposals as well as purchase proposals. So needed to bring that to the court so you're aware of at least what we're talking about. They've been very solicitous, very cooperative with us. We're looking at needing probably 3,000 to maybe 3,500 square feet. One floor of that building is, I think, 2,950 square feet. The other places that we've talked about, there's that building. There's open office space at the Wells Fargo building at 5 Points. There's some private law office space down on Main Street down by Notre Dame that's available. Those are probably the only 3 options that we have on the table right now. But one of the things that we needed to do was to bring to you the fact that they are making proposals for us to buy the building, which are very attractive. And the proposal, they had the property listed up here for $780,000, and they offered it to us for substantially less than that.
So what is the timing on all of this? I mean,
Okay.
we're talking about a facility, but we're still discussing and we'll make a decision on whether or not to pursue this capability.
Judge, the question I have just before, it's a procedural question. Let me interrupt you, Commissioner. I know what you said so far is fine in open session, but if we go much further, it seems we ought to go into executive session on this item.
Well, but the issue is the leasing versus purchasing. Should we even discuss with them the possibility of purchasing?
We have an agreement with all the other counties before we.
That was my question.
Yeah,
Where does this fall in the series?
Where we are in the process is we filed the grant application last week on behalf of all 5 counties.
Huh.
We are waiting on 2 additional attachments with regard to that grant application, which are agreements from 2 of the counties for their judges in that county to approve the use of the Public Defender's Office. That would complete the grant process when those 2 attachments are done. Following that, we will have, once we complete locally, internally, we will work with the other 4 counties to come up with some sort of agreement on how to do this. And we're not.
We're gonna share expenses, but will that include, their portion of a rental of a building we own? That kind of
Yes.
stuff should be
Yes.
worked out.
Well, we've already discussed that. That's been discussed. It's not
It
in
hasn't been
formal.
agreed upon.
It has, no agreement has been signed, but in practice and in theory,
In theory.
and what we've worked on is not doing it on the basis of the population of the county, but on the caseloads from the county, to be reviewed probably every 3 years. So we would come up with an allocation between the 5 counties on the basis of the caseloads. With Kerr has the largest caseload, and Medina has the second largest, and then Kendall, and then Gillespie and Bandera.
So let me ask a question a different way. So all of this public defender's capability is being looked at, discussed, applications are being submitted, agreements looked at between the multiple counties, and then we've got the facility that's out there. So regarding the facility, which is an agenda item, could we do something that says, we'll, in executive session or whatever, enter into, or have that discussion pending approval of the public defender's office?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that'd be the way to
It'd
do
have
it.
to be.
Rather than, yeah. So,
And we may still, I mean, once we get the result of the application, we're assuming, and I think rightly so, that we're gonna have a pretty good,
yeah,
grant from the state to get this off the ground, but how long that grant goes into place, and there's some other financial matters that I think we have to know before we can do
Sure.
anything, definitely, but we, at the same time, we have to keep on going and down the road,
We're kind of running
multiple tracks.
dual tracks. That's
Right.
what
Sure.
we're doing right now,
Sure.
is because
that's good.
the grant, the TIDC, the Texas Indigent Defense Commission, receives the grants in June and will probably make their determination in August. So that's what we're looking at. The effective date of the grant would be the fiscal year, which would be October 1. There's no expectations that if we do this, that we'll have a complete office up and running by October 1. We're targeting more for January 1 to give us some time to put it together. What we're doing right now is if we're going to do this, we don't have a place to house them. So we're looking at possible places to house the office.
You just don't want to be caught flat-footed.
That's right. And as we look at it, we initially just approached on leasing space, but with the economic disaster that we're going through, there are some good opportunities to possibly purchase.
I'd
And so just
recommend we
making
go-
sure that the court's up to speed, that these are issues that are being discussed.
I'd recommend we go into executive session at the end of the meeting to go over the numbers.
Yeah.
Because I think the court needs to understand that part of it, and then that helps on a decision. Is it better to lease half a building or buy a whole building?
Can we do that today?
You can do it under this item today, you can go into.
Even though we don't say what it is?
Pardon?
Would be contract negotiations.
Okay,
It would be contract negotiations, and I think
Okay.
that this is one where you'll have to
okay, good. Super.
get a written opinion from me and then vote from the court.
I mean, it's not a secret.
Yeah.
And
The people that own the building have come to us and we've gone to them.
Yeah. I just asked a
But-
procedural question
Right.
of the county attorney.
But I think the discussions beyond what we've done should probably be done.
And what we're trying to do is to get the court up to speed because of our Open Meetings Act restrictions, so that you know what's going on, get the public up to speed that this is what we're looking into.
Okay, cool.
And we're having to do this on a dual track because we have pretty short time fuse on the whole thing, so we're running fast.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to item 1.7 on the agenda, which is consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the recycle program.
One thing to set the stage for this, been a lot of discussion about whether materials are recycled. So I reached out to the city of Kerrville, the city manager, and asked specifically if they could confirm that these materials are recycled. They are recycled. The only reason the materials are not recycled, that the city picks up or is taken to the transfer station out at the landfill, and I'm just using transfer station, is if the material is contaminated, has a lot of things in there that are not recyclable, then they're not able to recycle it. And the other thing is, the only other reason it's not recycled, if there's some material in there that's not of value, enough sufficient value to be recycled, for instance, maybe paper or something like that, then it may not be recycled, that particular type of thing. Otherwise, it is, make it official, it is all that material is recycled if it meets those conditions. So just set the stage for that. And I want to say that at the beginning, and then we can talk about trailers. And I've had a lot of complaints about the trailer. Well, people are disappointed that the capability doesn't exist at the landfill anymore with the being able to take recyclable materials. I've had a lot of people.
But that's not, we have nothing to say about that.
That the city has made that decision, that's not us. The other thing is that we do have something to say about is the trailer at Hayes Street. People hate it because it's like a mail slot that you have to put the recycled materials in. If you have a can full of a big container of plastic bottles, you can't put them through there unless you take them out almost individually and put them through the slot. So I don't know if there's anything that Shane can do about that. So that's the only things I have to say on the subject, and I think that
I have a general comment. I mean, one, and my constituents don't use it as much as probably the rest of the members of the court's constituents. But I know there have been a lot of complaints about the trailers not being there and things of that nature. And I know that and I've talked to Jody some, and she's getting a lot of the calls. And people don't seem to understand that when it gets full, it has to be taken back. So it's not at any location 24 hours a day. It's in and out, and courtesy would be nice for the public, both to Shane's people, to our staff, and there's a lot of people that are, that rub me to the point I'm ready to do away with the whole program. I mean, if people aren't polite and courteous, I don't have a lot of room for this program.
First thing I did when we had it at the Turtle Creek School was went and got a sign printed up telling the hours and the times and all that sort of stuff. So that eliminates a lot of it, just having that communication on the side. But I agree with you that people have been pretty testy about it, and it's not my job to help people get rid of the recyclables, really. That's not part of the job description for anything we do here. It's a nicety, but just like anything, you grow to expect it when it's there.
I want to go back to something Commissioner Mosier said and clarify. So what they're telling you is we might take stuff out there that's been, the people have gathered to recycle, you and I or whoever goes out there, and at that time period they're not taking paper, recycling paper, then we've done it for naught. Or it might be plastic or whatever. They don't have a market for it or something.
Well, no, that's not what they said. They said if you have a combination of a lot of different materials, there may be something in there. They separate those materials at the recycling facility,
Okay.
not here, but in
Right.
San Antonio, wherever. So if paper were to not be recyclable, they may take the paper out and then just trash it. That's just an example I'm making. The rest of it would be recycled.
Okay.
Right.
But it might be one segment that we thought was going to be recycled.
Right.
Ended up not getting
Depending on the
recycled.
market, correct.
Depending on the market.
I called them this morning to clarify that, and it was mostly, like you're saying, contamination, which could include everything getting wet. A big bunch of sloppy paper that they don't want to mess with.
Sure, wait.
But they have a specific corner where they put all the recyclables, and they take them to San Antonio. I called actually to ask if they can cut people a break on all the trash and debris from them. Commissioner Harris and I talked about that, and they're working on that. Just
Brush,
people's
the down limbs and
all
all
these
that.
down limbs and trees, and they may be able to. They have to ask higher ups for that kind of stuff. But again, that's not something that we're provided or supposed to provide in the county. If it's in the road, we take care of it. If it's in your yard, it belongs to you.
But I think the point that we're all walking around politely is that this is not a necessary service of the county. This is a discretionary service that we provide. And as long as we can afford to do it and people are cooperative, the county will try to continue to do this. But if the testiness becomes too burdensome, we won't. Just let you know. And the calls that have come into this courthouse, highly inappropriate, some of them. Highly inappropriate.
And I think Shane's got some photos of just the recent collections of the trailers, and, you know, these trailers are gonna fill up, okay? And these guys are gonna take them and dump them and bring them back to the location and what have you. So,
Thank
You're gonna hold these up to the camera where everybody can see it at home?
that's probably best in front of your face.
You probably have the best camera to do that, Shane.
Yeah.
Why don't you just hold up a couple of those photographs and let the folks see what we're looking at?
Can they see that, Ben? He holds it right there.
Not very well, but yeah.
That was this morning. The other photo on the Singer Day, that was last week. Also Memorial Day weekend on Monday, we had come in, and because of the storm, people had leaving their recycle, because it was full on that weekend. They left it on the top of the recycle trailer. The wind caught it, blew it all over the road, and the fence across, or across the street from Hayes Street, it caught all of it. So we picked up, one of my guys picked up probably 4 bags, 4 big trash bags full of what would have been recycled. But it's all wet cardboard, so that didn't end up in the recycle.
However, this does demonstrate that people use it.
They use it.
They do definitely use it. And
They use it and abuse it.
I've caught some flack from, we're in the process of moving it because, one, they want a schedule, but if it's filling up daily, and one of my notations there, it was empty twice in one day, and people are kind of, on the testing nature, telling us we need a bigger trailer, we need a schedule. How do we make a schedule when we're emptying it every day? So, and I don't see the point of, if it's half full at a particular time or particular day, taking it in when it's half full. So when it gets full, we respond, we get it emptied, and we go from there. But I think where some of these people are getting testy is when they come over there with their recycle, and we have a sign out that says the trailer will be back, but it's not there when they get there. So they're a little testy with it.
Well, I think most people that I've talked to are very cordial, but when you see stuff like that, it could be a few bad apples ruining for everybody else.
Yes, sir. And there's been some positive, there's been some good with bad, or vice versa.
But all this is just before we ever get to the budget issues.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So the first week with the recycle trailer on Hayes, there was wasn't a whole lot of action. I think there was still some confusion because a lot of people didn't realize the city had done away with their recycle containers. They didn't know where to go. The city kind of helped them and directed the call to our commissioner, court coordinator, and she received a lot of phone calls. I've been getting a lot of phone calls, so it has definitely picked up to the point where we're having to empty it daily at that location.
It's not only discretionary service that we provide, it's getting to be a very burdensome service that we're providing.
It's a lot of time.
And Shane, over the past year or so, do you know of times that y'all have left stuff off and maybe it ended up in the landfill, or?
We, like everybody's has been noted, there is a spot for the recycle. It's the first bay.
Well,
It doesn't happen every time, but we have noticed that there's a trailer coming in there and they do not have recycle, and they backed into that bay. I didn't personally see them unload on top of that, but that is a possibility of what could happen. And like the last time I helped personally, I believe it was on the 26th or whatever, as soon as we pulled out, there was an operator got on his piece of equipment and pushed it up into the the recycle pile. So it was, I know at that point, recycled, but that has not always been the case. We pull out, someone with a big trailer comes in and they start unloading.
that gets into an area that's really not our problem. If you do what you're supposed to do, it is not the jurisdiction of this court to police the Republic Services or anybody else. We deliver it, and that's the end of it.
But I have had a conversation with a lot of people call me that, why am I doing this if there's a chance it's going in the landfill anyway? you know, why don't we jump through all these hoops? They collect it, we collect it, and then maybe it goes in the landfill. So that kind of defeats the whole purpose.
It seems like, you know, we're somewhat committed contractually to through this budget year, then we'll make a decision.
There you go. If there's any way to improve the slots in the trailer, do it.
I can see why they would be upset with it. They're spring loaded, and if they're not,
If there's any way to modify it, consider it.
You need a cutting torch, don't you?
just,
A grinder at least to do that.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay, moving on, the next item on the agenda is 1.8, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the recent storm damage. Commissioner Letts.
I put this on the agenda just because I know Road and Bridge received some questions or comments about it, and it's, as long as I can remember, our policy has been mostly related to brush, debris that blew down throughout the county. I do not recall the county ever providing any service to pick up brush from the public. But I said we could put it on the agenda and see if there's any desire to do it. I don't have any desire to do it, but I think one time when there was a much larger, it was a flood, we did provide a place to put some of the debris, and I think it was either, I can't remember, it was either the polo field or the dog park, as I recall. And it was not used very much.
That's when we used to burn it at the.
Yeah,
the
that caused a problem. Then it caught on fire. We had a big fire at the dog park. But anyway, so I said we put it on the agenda. I have not had any requests myself.
Well, Harley and I spoke about this Friday, and, you know, Charlie called, that's what he's referring to a few minutes ago. I believe you called to see if they give the county people a concession on bringing brush out there or what have you, discount or a
And the
window,
city
a
had
week or two
requested
window that you can bring stuff in and where they say they got checked with higher ups, right? So, because somebody could load it up, why take it to the polo field or someplace else and take it straight there? It would be ideal if they'd work with us.
Well, if you have a big run on people bringing in huge tree stumps and stuff, that's a boon to your business if you're charging for it.
Yeah.
And so if they want to give us a discount,
Yeah.
that's up to them. But
Sure.
Well, I lost a 3-foot diameter oak,
No,
and I'm not taking that to the dump.
I wouldn't, I don't blame you.
I'm not paying for that.
So you bought some splitters, did you?
No, I brought my grandson and my son in, and we cut it up, and they're out there burning it this morning with the river, so
Okay.
just taking care of it ourselves.
Yep.
So no action.
No action.
Gosh.
Thank you, Ms. Ofer.
That was easy.
Okay, let's take a 5-minute break. Let's come back at 10 o'clock, and we'll do the approval agenda, the information agenda, and the executive session agenda. Into session. Let's move on with the approval agenda. 2.1, pay the bills. Ms. Shelton.
Good morning. This morning, the invoices for your approval for Kerr County, $392,214.98. The airport, $10,533.43. Adult probation, $934.36. And juvenile probation, $5,595.75.
Move for approval.
second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Harris to approve the bills as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Budget amendments.
There are not any.
Late bills,
There are not any.
and no auditor reports.
We have one auditor's report
Oh.
for y'all to receive, and it is Justice
Oh.
of the Peace Precinct 4.
Right. And I remember there was a Parks and Wildlife issue on that. Other than that, it was a clean bill of health.
Yes.
Very good.
I move for approval.
Okay. I'll second that. Commissioner Harris moved to approve the audit report. I seconded it. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Any other monthly reports? Good. Then we go to court orders. Any court orders?
Yes, we have the court orders from our May 26th meeting. They're court orders 38095 and 38238-105. I did make a suggested change to court order 38099. This is related to the Committee on the 5 County Regional Public Defender's Office. And I thought it was a little bit more precise to read as follows. Approve and authorize the county judge to appoint members as discussed on the committee, to the Committee on the 5 County Regional Public Defender's Office, and suggested members include Don Lance, Heather Stebbins, Stephen Harpold, Don Harris, Judge Kelly, and the chairperson. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve the court orders.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Moser to approve the court orders as presented in court today. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Information agenda, status reports from department heads. Okay, 3.2, status reports from elected officials. Sheriff.
Real quick, I'll give you a little update on some of what we're going through. We still are doing good in the jail, of course. We have not opened up housing more out-of-county inmates, so it's still at 18 that we have. We do have one of the other counties really wanting us to accept some right now, but I'm still not at the point of doing that just due to the low number of separation cells and the availability of being able to quarantine groups and isolate. It's just kind of too risky.
What's the count on our separation cells right now?
Sir?
What's the count on our separation cells?
Friday I had 5.
5 open?
5 open.
And so the public, just remind the public, we've got 35 that we can use. We've got 30 occupied, so we've got 5 open cells to quarantine people for 14 days before they go into the general population.
That was as of Friday. I could have opened up a little bit more over the weekend. I can pull it up this morning, but I didn't look at it this morning.
If you could tell a little bit what's the capacity on those that, it's for each cell?
One.
Oh, just one?
Yeah,
Okay.
Those are separation cells. That's like, it's like solitary confinement.
Okay.
Every inmate that goes into our jail system is quarantined in a separation cell for 14 days before they go into the general population. We've got 35 of those, 30 are occupied. We've only got 5 open.
Yeah.
I have cell blocks of 8 to 10 person blocks that are open too. But then you're trying to mix and it just doesn't work. So it's an issue we're dealing with. On the other hand, the storm that we had did wreak havoc. There's a lot of people hurting right now throughout the county. Thank goodness we only had the one injury that I know of, the man that was struck by lightning in Greenwood Forest. The other issues we had, it was mainly Kerrville South was the biggest area that we got hit county out in the county. And I know that consisted of 7 homes that received extensive damage to those. We've got probably another 20 or so that lost roofs. We had, I think, over 20 telephone poles snapped off or down and power outages throughout. The Weather Service did come up, National Weather Service. They inspected most of the Kerrville South area. They met with me afterwards and said what they could tell, that they're not saying there wasn't a tornado somewhere in the county, in the EF1 or different areas, but the main area that they inspected, they were seeing microbursts and straight line winds of probably 70 to 80 mile an hour winds, okay, which it's going to take Kerrville South a while to recover. There's extensive amount of damage out in that area. I know just even in my area out off Bear Creek, one of the homes out there is probably $1 million home, and it lost its roof and chimney. The whole thing just took it off. And so, there's a lot of damage throughout the county that's going to take a while. And landfills and where they're going to go, the contractor, there's going to be a lot of debris. The K-Pub did a remarkable job because they brought in electric companies from Seguin, Fredericksburg, Pedernales, all other areas around. It was just a flow of trucks by our office out there, with them having crews out 24 hours a day trying to get power back up for some. Because as soon as they try and turn it on, you'd have something catch fire over here, or trees, or where it was tangled up in the line. So there was a lot more to getting it back for people to be safe, but I think they're mostly done at that right now. Other than that, the county-wide, our damage, what I'm seeing so far is I haven't seen any building damage that we've had associated with the sheriff's office. I do have 5 vehicles that received damage. Most of it's light hail damage, but some of it's broken rearview mirror on the outside or black back turn lens where it got hit by hail or things like that, because they were out in it the whole time trying to help people. But we'll just have to see if any of it amounts to the deductible amount, and it may not, because of the small amount. We'll just have to get them up here once we get it all figured out, because each vehicle has its own deductible, so I'm not sure that it will work that way. Although unfortunately, 2 of the vehicles were 2020s, ones we just put on the road. So we'll get through it.
It's interesting, this, from an insurance standpoint, the TAC contacted us the morning after the storm and wanted to know what damage we had. I guess they're so used to us having hailstorms through here. They're like, oh, another one coming from Kirkland. We said, minimal damage to the county property. So we were,
Most of our hail was smaller, but it's just going to be, there's just a lot of it. Thank you.
Any other reports from elected officials? Okay, liaison commissioner reports.
One thing, Judge, on the airport, I think the county authorized, as I recall, like $600,000 for some capital improvements on the horseshoe, hangar, runway, strength integrity, in preparation for T-hangars. And I've asked the airport board, the airport manager, come back to the court. I think they're going to revise some things they want to do, and I thought if they revise what they're going to do, they need to come back and tell us what they plan to do, since we approved it for specific things. So they should be coming back
Okay.
in the future.
Any other reports?
Maintenance is busy.
Understood. Okay, with that, then that will conclude the public part of the meeting. We're going to adjourn into executive session. We'll take a 5-minute recess, come back in executive session. It is 10:09 now. We'll start back at 10:14. It's 11 o'clock. We've come out of executive session. We have no action to take. We have a few cleanup items. I know one, Precinct 2, Commissioner Moser.
Right, Judge, I should have mentioned in Sampling Precinct 2, there will be a public meeting for a TCEQ air quality permit on June the 4th at 7 p.m. It'll be by webinar, and it is in regard to Martin Marietta's amendment to their air quality permit for their for their facility on Highway 27. And to access the webinar, I will give that information to Jody, so anybody that cares to enter into that webinar, call Jody at 830-792-2211, and she'll have the webinar access information.
Good.
is this on the Kerrville facility or the Centerpoint facility?
It's on the Centerpoint facility. It's where the rock crusher is. Yeah.
Okay. And Commissioner Harris?
Yes, we can talk to the other commissioners real quick. We're trying to have a workshop for the VFDs on June 17th at 10 a.m. Does that work?
Yep.
You guys?
Okay. So we're going to set a workshop to work with volunteer fire departments on June the 17th, 10 a.m.
That's right.
And we've got a TCEQ air quality permit meeting webinar on June the 4th at 7 p.m. Is there any other business before the court today?
What
Are we meeting here for the VFD?
10 a.m.
We were going to try to have it at the Ag Barn, I believe. Isn't that what you discussed?
We can do the Ag Barn.
We were wanting that, chiefs are at least one representative from each department,
Well,
during the
I've
day.
already asked somebody from one of the ESDs to come and explain how that works. So
Okay.
Is that good?
That'd be a good time.
Yeah,
What's the
please.
purpose of the workshop? We'll talk about ESDs?
ESD.
And budget. They
Yeah,
want to talk about
budget.
budget.
Okay.
Okay, good.
All change is controversial, you know.
Right.
Sure.
Anything else before the court today? Okay, then we will be adjourned.